What if I told you that the future of mental health is something that was outlawed, feared, and misunderstood for decades? What if the very thing society told you was dangerous is now showing some of the most promising results for depression, PTSD, anxiety, and trauma? And what if, instead of years of therapy, some people are experiencing what feels like 1,000 hours of healing in a single guided experience? This isn't hype. This is what's quietly happening right now. And the question is no longer if psychedelics will change mental health. It's whether we're ready to understand them properly. Because this conversation isn't really about drugs. It's about healing at the deepest level. Let's address the elephant in the room. When most people hear psychedelics, they think of drugs, partying, or losing control. And that association is the problem. Because there is a massive difference between using psychedelics to escape and using them to heal. One is conscious and avoidant. The other is intentional and self-introspective. Historically, those two got lumped in together. In the 60s and 70s, psychedelics became tied to counterculture and rebellion, and governments responded by banning them and shutting down research. Not because the science proved they didn't work, but because the cultural context around them became threatening. So for decades, something that could have helped millions was buried under stigma and judgment and fear. But now the research is back, and what it's showing is very hard to ignore. You see, when used properly, psychedelics are not about escaping reality. They're about finally seeing it clearly. To understand why psychedelics are so powerful, you have to understand the mind. You have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is what you're aware of, the thoughts you can hear, the decisions that you're making. But the subconscious is where everything lives, your trauma, your conditioning, your emotional patterns, your fears, and even your very self-identity. And most of what people struggle with is buried there, outside of conscious awareness. That's why traditional approaches can feel slow. You're trying to think your way through something that isn't fully accessible to you through thinking. You can understand your patterns and still feel stuck in them. The gap between awareness and transformation is where most people struggle, and it's exactly where psychedelics come in. Psychedelics temporarily reduce activity in a part of the brain called the default mode network, which is closely tied to your ego. This is your sense of self, your self-identity, and the internal dialogue you hear. The ego's primary role is protection. It's filtering reality, it's trying to avoid pain, and it creates these stories to help you function. But in doing so, it can also distort and suppress or rationalize your deeper wounds. So you don't resolve them, you simply adapt around them. So psychedelics quiet that system. And when that happens, you get access to what's underneath. It's unfiltered and real. This is why people often describe these experiences as finally understanding themselves, why they do what they do. They see the root of their pattern, not just the symptoms and behaviors they don't like. And once you see something clearly, it becomes much harder to stay unconscious to it. Most people don't heal because they don't fully feel. They analyze their pain, they explain it, and they try to make sense of it, but they don't actually allow themselves to experience it fully. Psychedelics change that. They allow emotions to surface without the same level of resistance. And when you feel something fully, without judgment or suppression, it processes through you and out of your system. This is why people can revisit painful experiences from their past, and instead of being overwhelmed, they move through them. They feel what they didn't get to feel way back when. They release what they've been holding on to. That is not intellectual healing, that is emotional completion. Psychedelics also increase neuroplasticity, which means the brain becomes more flexible and open to change. Most people are stuck in patterns. The same thoughts lead to the same feelings, which lead to the same behaviors and the same outcomes. And even when they want to change, it feels difficult because those patterns are deeply wired. Psychedelics create a temporary window where those patterns loosen. New perspectives become available, new ways of thinking and being feel a lot more accessible. But this is also where integration matters, because the experience opens the door and shows you what you need to see. But what you do afterward determines whether real change happens. Many people report something called ego dissolution, where their sense of me temporarily fades. And when that happens to you, you're no longer seeing life through your identity. You're seeing without it. You see, most suffering comes from the identity we've built, the belief that we are not enough, that we're broken, or that we have to protect ourselves. But when that identity dissolves, even briefly, you realize something deeper. You are not your thoughts. You are not your past. You are not your story. And that realization can be incredibly freeing because it shows you that who you think you are is not fixed. Psychedelics often create a deep sense of connection to yourself, to others, and to life itself. People report feeling more love, more compassion, and a greater sense of meaning. For someone struggling with depression or anxiety, that shift alone can be life-changing. Because when you feel disconnected, everything feels heavy. But when you feel connected, everything changes. It gives you a reason to move forward, not just something to escape from. Now, I want to be clear. Psychedelics are not a magic solution. They're not for everyone, and they should be taken very seriously. These are powerful tools that can open deep parts of the psyche. And without the right setting, and guidance, the experience can be overwhelming or even harmful. This is why the future of psychedelics is not recreational use. It's intentional, it's guided, it's therapeutic, with proper preparation and integration. Because the experience itself is only part of the process. What you do with it afterward determines whether it becomes real, lasting change. So here's the truth. Mental health isn't just about managing symptoms. It's about understanding what's beneath them. And for a long time, we've been trying to access the deepest parts of the mind with tools that only reach the surface. Psychedelics, when they're used properly, offer something different. They don't numb, they don't distract, they reveal. And in that reveal, there is an opportunity to heal, truly, to understand, and to become someone new. Not by adding something to yourself, but by finally getting access to what's been there all along. Thanks for watching this video today. If you get value from my content, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I don't want you to miss future conversations about awareness and emotional freedom and enlightenment. And if you really want to go deeper into the work, head over to my website at keithcrossley.com. I've got additional teachings and resources and coaching options, all designed to help you attain the highest levels of mental and emotional freedom. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.